Welcome to the September 9, 2020 regular board meeting of the Chino Valley District Board of Directors. The time is 5 p.m. This is President Harvey Luth, and we will now begin the meeting. Please be advised that this meeting will be recorded. Please silence your cell phones and devices to reduce background noise or disruption. In accordance with the California Governor's Executive Order N-29-20, guidance from the California Department of Public Health, and in an effort to combat the spread of COVID-19, the Chino Valley Fire District will hold all regular and special meetings of the Board of Directors remotely in a hybrid format using GoToWebinar until further notice. Board members may be present in the boardroom and will accommodate physical attendance by the public. The public may join the meeting real time in listen-only mode. Instructions and the GoToWebinar URL link for the meeting are listed on the agenda. Our agenda is posted on our website at cbifd.org. Please be advised that when you join the meeting real time, your screen name will appear on the GoToWebinar screen. The board will accept public comment on all items on the agenda and under public communications. Instructions for participating in public comment are listed on the agenda and on the Fire District website. The public has three options for participating in public comment. One option for participating in public comment was to submit comments to the clerk of the board at email at clerk@chofire.org prior to the beginning of the meeting. Comments received by email will be read real time by the clerk of the board during the specified time. Emails are limited to 300 words. Please note that your name will be read into the record. The second option for participating in public comment real time was to register prior to the meeting at the GoToWebinar URL listed on this agenda. If you have registered for public comment, the clerk of the board will call on you and unmute your microphone when it's your turn to speak. Attendees may also need to unmute their own devices to be heard. The third option is for the public to attend the board meeting and submit a request to speak form to the clerk of the board or designee. When your name is called, begin the public comment by stating your name and address, which is optional for the record. Comments must be limited to 5 minutes. For a recorded viewing of the board meeting, you may access the Fire District website the day following the meeting at www.cbifd.org and click on Board Meeting Video Archive. I will now open the meeting and take roll call. Please answer when I call your name. Director Wynn Williams. Here. Director Mike Krieger.
Here.
Director John DeMonico.
Present.
Vice President Sarah Ronald-Sillinger.
Present.
And myself, President Harvey Luth. I would like to remind those joining us by GoToWebinar to please mute your microphone until it is your time to speak to cut down on any background noise. We will be adjourning to closed session. Before I adjourn the open session to closed session portion of the meeting, I will read the closed session item. Conference with real property negotiator. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8, the Board of Directors will meet with its designated negotiator, Fire Chief Tim Shackelford, regarding real property owned by the City of Chino Hills and located on an undeveloped parcel located on the south side of Sokol Canyon at the intersection of Sokol Canyon and Pipeline Avenue. The Board of Directors will instruct the district's negotiator concerning the price and terms of payment. Clerk of the Board, do we have any public comments on the closed session item?
Good afternoon. We have no request to speak for closed session.
Thank you. I will now adjourn the open session to closed session. We will return to the regular board meeting open session at 6 p.m. Staff members who are not participating in closed session are now asked to leave the boardroom until 6 p.m. when the open session resumes. When the closed session adjourns, those joining the meeting remotely will join the same GoToWebinar link at 5:45 for a sound check and stay on until the open session begins. After the sound check, remember to keep your microphone muted until 6 p.m. when the open session resumes.
Chris.
Welcome to the September 9, 2020 regular board meeting of the Chino Valley District Board of Directors. The time is 6 p.m. This is President Harvey Luth, and we will now begin the meeting. Please be advised that this meeting will be recorded. Please silence your cell phones and devices to reduce background noise or disruption. In accordance with the California Governor's Executive Order N-29-20, guidance from the California Department of Public Health, and in an effort to combat the spread of COVID-19, the Chino Valley Fire District will hold all regular and special meetings of the Board of Directors remotely in a hybrid format using GoToWebinar until further notice. Board members may be present in the boardroom and will accommodate physical attendance by the public. Public may join the meeting real time in listen-only mode. Instructions and the GoToWebinar URL link for the meeting are listed on the agenda. Our agenda is posted on our website at cdifd.org. Please be advised that when you join the meeting in real time, your screen name will appear on the GoToWebinar screen. The board will accept public comment on all items on the agenda and under public communications. Instructions for participating in public comment are listed on the agenda and on the Fire District website. The public had 3 options for participating in public comment. One option for participating in public comment was to submit comments to the clerk of the board by email at clerk@chofire.org prior to the beginning of the meeting. Comments received by email will be read real time by the clerk of the board during the specified time. Emails are limited to 300 words. Please note that your name will be read into the record. The second option for participating in public comment real time was to register prior to the meeting at the GoToWebinar URL listed on this agenda. If you have registered for public comment, the clerk of the board will call on you and unmute your microphone when it's your turn to speak. Attendees may also need to unmute their own devices to be heard. The third option is for the public to attend the board meeting and submit a request to speak form to the clerk of the board or designee. When your name is called, begin the public comment by stating your name and address, which is optional for the record. Comments must be limited to 5 minutes. For recorded viewing of the board meeting, you may also access the Fire District website the day following the meeting at www.cdifd.org and click on Board Meeting Video Archive. I will now call for roll call for the open session. I will now open the meeting and take roll. Please answer when I call your name. Director Wynn Williams. Here. Director Mike Krieger. Here. Director John DeMonico. Present. Vice President Sarah Ramos-Evinger.
Present.
And myself, President Harvey Luce. I would like to remind everyone joining remotely to please mute your phone until it's your time to speak to cut down on any background noise. Legal Counsel Isaac Wilson, please report out of closed session.
There is no reportable action out of this evening's closed session.
Thank you. Next, we have a flag salute. If you'd rise for the flag salute and remain standing for the invocation. All right, please join me in the salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we have Keith Roby, the Fire District Chaplain, who's joined us to present the invocation. Chaplain?
President Luth, Board of Directors, I just want to thank you for having me here tonight. For those so inclined, if you'd please bow your heads with me. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful, cool day, for your love, your grace and mercy, and for the opportunity to serve. I pray for our state, our firefighters, the Air National Guard, and for the firefighters from all over the world who have come to aid us in fighting the fires that plague not only our state, but others as well. I take heed in 2 Samuel 22:33 as a promise from you that says, "It is God who arms me with strength and keeps my way secure." With that, I ask that you would guard our firefighters, surround them with a hedge of protection that will keep them safe and able to return home to their families unharmed. I pray for weather that would accelerate the containment of these fires and provide needed relief for all those involved. I pray too, Lord, for the families that have lost loved ones and property by the 92 active fires and 3.5 million acres that have burned to date. May these families feel your presence in their lives, provide them comfort and strength to get through this crisis. Bless our efforts this evening with clear insight. Give us wisdom, guidance, and blessings for the task before this board tonight. We pray this in your precious name. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. All right, next we have changes to the agenda. Clerk of the board, do we have any changes?
We have no changes to the agenda this evening.
Okay. Fortunately, you're all going to have to listen to me for a little bit again. We have a number of presentations and announcements. Chino Hills Sheriff Department presentation to Inspector Lena Lynn, Lieutenant Patrick O'Brien from the Chino Hills Police Department, and Fire Inspector Lena Lynn. Please come forward.
Hello, thanks for having me. Let me speak today. I really appreciate it. My name is Pat O'Brien. I'm the lieutenant of the Chino Hills Sheriff Station. I'm here today on behalf of the Sheriff's Department and Captain John Walker, who couldn't make it here today. We at the Chino Sheriff Station appreciate and are proud of the relationship we have with the Chino Valley Fire District. Deputies and fire personnel rely on each other out in the field, and our relationship is one of the best partnerships going between law enforcement and fire. Thank you for that. Back in December of 2019, our station began planning an inclusive meeting designed to reach out to our Mandarin-speaking community. One hurdle we quickly came upon was our inability to communicate with that segment of the population. Sergeant Laura Addy from our station reached out to the Chino Valley Fire District with a request and help for speaking with the Mandarin community. She was directed to arson investigator Lena Lin, who speaks Mandarin. After talking with Sergeant Addy, Lena agreed to help with translation and further seized the opportunity to serve her community and asked if she could present some fire safety information at the same meeting. On the evening of January 9th, 2020, as 145 members of the Mandarin community met at the Sheriff's Station with Sheriff staff and arson investigator Lynn, and it was one of the best attended community meetings we've had. Lena was an integral part of this meeting, helping in planning, proofreading, and translating during the event. The meeting was talked about in several news outlets, social media, and led to a stronger relationship with members of the Mandarin community. We wanted to recognize Lena shortly after the event, but as you know, COVID-19 changed the rules on how we do meetings, and her recognition was moved back. We told local representatives what Lena had done for the community, and they also wanted to show how much they appreciated her work. The Sheriff's Department wishes to recognize Lena with a Commander's Award. The City of Chino Hills has issued Lena a certificate of recognition. Supervisor Kurt Hagman issued Lena a certificate of recognition. Assemblyman Philip Chen issued Lena a certificate from the California legislature. And Senator Ling Ling Chang issued Lena a certificate of recognition from the California Senate. Thank you, Lena, for your help. We really appreciate it.
Begin pictures.
You don't want to get close?
And I don't have to worry about smiling for the picture.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that recognition. Awesome. Next, we have Employee Service Awards. This evening, we would like to recognize 2 service award recipients who respectively have 5 and 15 years of service with the fire district. We regret that due to the current COVID-19 pandemic, we are not able to invite the award recipients to our meeting for a formal recognition. However, we have invited them and their families to join us today remotely and hear the very well-deserved recognition for their service to the Chino Valley Fire District and the community we serve. We appreciate the dedication and commitment of each employee being recognized tonight. First, we have EMS nurse Leslie Parham, 5 years. EMS nurse Leslie Parham began her career with the fire district on September 21st, 2015. She supports the Deputy Chief of Emergency Services and our Deputy Chief of EMS Training. Thank you, Leslie, for 5 years of service to the fire district. Next, we have Accountant Dawn Burns, 15 years. Dawn Burns began her career on September 19, 2005 as an accounting technician. On August 16, 2016, Dawn's position was reclassified and she currently serves as the finance department as an accountant. Thank you, Dawn, for 15 years of service to the fire district. Although the board of directors were not able to personally recognize you for your service tonight, we would like to acknowledge each one of you and thank you for your commitment to serving the Chino Valley community. In the next week, service pins and awards will be delivered to you representing the corresponding years of service. Again, on behalf of the board of directors and the fire district, thank you for your service. Next, we have proclamations. This evening, we have 4 proclamations on our agenda. A complete copy of each proclamation is available as an attachment on our agenda on the fire district's website. First proclamation is 9/11 Firefighter Day of Remembrance. It is the 19th anniversary of the most devastating terrorist attack to ever hit our homeland, and the Chino Valley Fire District has vowed to never forget the selfless acts of courage and duty of not only those who fell on September 11, 2001, but those we have lost since and those who carry on. On behalf of the Chino Valley Fire District Board of Directors, I would like to solemnly proclaim September 11, 2020 as Firefighter Day of Remembrance, recognizing all firefighters who fall in the line of duty everywhere. The next proclamation is Fire Prevention Week. Fire Prevention Week commemorates the Great Chicago Fire of 1871, which killed more than 250 people, left 100,000 homeless, destroyed more than 17,400 buildings, and burned more than 2,000 acres. Today, fire kills more than 3,000 people in the United States each year, and more than 80% of all fire deaths occur in the home. The Chino Valley Fire District is committed to the safety of life and property from the devastating effects of fire and calls upon the people of Chino Valley to participate in fire safety and preparedness. The Fire District will hold its annual open house as a virtual fire station tour on Saturday, October 10, 2020 at 11 a.m. via Facebook Live. On behalf of the Fire District Board of Directors, I would like to proclaim the week of October 4 through 10, 2020 as Fire Prevention Week. The next proclamation is If You See Something, Say Something National Awareness Day. In July 2010, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security launched a national campaign to recognize behaviors and indicators of terrorism and terrorism-related crime, as well as the importance of reporting suspicious activity to state and local law enforcement, and has created partnerships to educate the public on suspicious activities and potential threats, promoting being watchful and reporting unusual activity to law enforcement. The Fire District has established the Bleed Safe Chino Valley program designed to increase survivability from potential traumatic incidents by community members' readiness, and will continue to build relationships with local law enforcement and city officials in support of together maintaining public safety and awareness. Therefore, on behalf of the Fire District Board of Directors, I would like to proclaim September 25, 2020 as If You See Something, Say Something National Awareness Day. The next proclamation is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Breast cancer touches the lives of Americans from every background and in every community across our nation, and during National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we honor those we have lost, lend our strength to those who carry on the fight, and pledge to educate ourselves and our loved ones about the tragic disease and the importance of early detection. This month, we stand with those who have been affected by breast cancer and together strengthen our resolve toward a future free from all cancer in all forms. Therefore, on behalf of the Fire District Board of Directors, I would like to proclaim October as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Next, we have public communications. This is the time and place for the general public to address the Board of Directors about subjects that do not appear elsewhere on the agenda. The public may address items on the agenda at the time addressed by the Board. Due to Board policy and Brown Act requirements, action may not be taken on any issues not on the agenda. When you address the Board, please state your name and address, which is optional, prior to making your remarks. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. Clerk of the Board, do we have any requests to speak?
We have no request to speak this evening.
All right. Next, we have liaison reports to the Fire District. Clerk of the Board, do we have any liaison speaking?
Yes, we have several liaisons joining us this evening. First, we have Suzette Dang, representing San Bernardino County 4th District, and she's joining us remotely.
Good evening, President Luth, directors of the board, staff, Chief Shackelford, audience members who's joining online. My name is Suzette Dang. On behalf of Supervisor Kurt Hagman, I have a couple of announcements. First of all, congratulations to all our honorees tonight for their recognition. First announcement is our document shredding event coming up in partnership with the City of Chino Hills and with San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. Supervisor Kurt Hagman will be hosting a free document shredding event, and this is for all of our San Bernardino County residents. It will take place on Saturday, September 26th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. or until the truck becomes full. Location will be at McCoy Equestrian Center, parking lot located 14280 Peyton Drive in Chino Hills. We are limiting to 5 standard size boxes per vehicle, and masks are required. We also expect many vehicles to line up to take advantage of the free shredding event, and we do ask the members of the public to please be patient as we try to do our best to expedite the process with safety in mind. Secondly, I wanted to give you an information to all of our Chino Valley small businesses. COVID compliance business partnership program is still available, and application deadline is until October 31st. Over 4,500 businesses have been approved, and the fundings are of $2,500 for eligible small businesses with 1 to less than 100 employees. And also, the county has further modified the program to support small businesses and nonprofits that have incurred expenses moving their operations outdoors. So in addition to the original $2,500 provided to participants, the county is now offering additional $1,200 per business to restaurants and retail stores that have been forced to move outdoors in response to the state regulations. So please, we would love to see more Chino Valley small businesses to participate and get their grants. And for any questions and how to apply, please visit our website at sbcovid19.com. Again, sbcovid19.com, or call 909-387-3911. And also, just as a reminder, after the recent Labor Day holiday, we are asking all the residents to get tested at any of the many testing sites available throughout the county. I believe the two closest ones to the Chino Valley area will be Montclair and Ontario. And again, if you have any questions, please visit the website or call the number provided. And lastly, just wanted to say our thoughts and prayers are with all of our firefighters and our first responders. Please stay safe and well, and we thank you everyone for your services. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suzette. Council member Mark Lucio, City of Chino, is with us this evening. However, he does not have a report. And next we have Mayor Art Bennett, City of Chino Hills, and I believe he's in person.
Yes, he is.
I understand this is okay up here. I have been following this on Zoom each week, or each month, excuse me, and I thought it was about time that I show up in person and see how exciting this is and see who really is behind the camera. So, at any rate, President Luth, board members, Chief Shackelford, all of the staff is here. Thank you for allowing me to be here. I would echo what Suzette said as far as congratulations to all of those that were honored tonight. And thank you for having the proclamations for all of the important events that are coming up. We've had quite a few things going on within the city of Chino Hills. City operations are being updated due to COVID-19 response. We have extended our closures through October 4th. Chino Hills Community Center and the McCoy Equestrian and Recreation Center are closed. Playgrounds, volleyball and basketball courts, and exercise stations are still closed. Movies in the park, you may have heard, we've done this now a couple times on the site close to your administration building. On September 26th, we're going to have the drive-in movie Rocky on a 50-foot screen at the shop's overflow parking lot. It will be $10 per car, open to Chino Hills residents. Register at www.chinohills.org/drive-in. Concerts in the car, October 10th. Similar to movies in the parking lot, DFB, a tribute band to Journey, will perform on stage at the shop's overflow parking lot. $25 per car, open to Chino Hills residents. Again, register at www.chinohills.org/concerts. we're trying to get back to some sort of normalcy. As you know, we have a series of eight weeks of concerts during the summer, which we had to cancel. The gates will open for that concerts in the car at 4 p.m. The event time will actually be from 6 to 8:15. On the September 10th, we're going to have an ice cream social. We had one recently for those that are 50 years of age and older. We still had some ice cream available, so we're going to have a drive-through ice cream social at the Chino Hills Community Center. Pickup location is near the Military Service Monument, so it would be the west end of the community center. That will be from 1 to 2 on September 10th. Supplies are limited, and Chino Hills residents 50 and older may attend. Emergency Preparedness Webinar, Thursday, September 17th at 7 p.m. We have an emergency preparedness workshop every September. This year, we've decided to invite residents to a webinar over Zoom. It will be conducted like our hybrid Zoom City Council meeting. Registration is required. Deadline is September 16th at 5:30. Visit chinohills.org/emergency preparedness. Our presenter and PowerPoints will be visible on our city television stations 3 and 41 website or via Zoom. The webinar will be available on the city website for viewing later in that week. And a couple more items. Blood drive is coming up on Wednesday, September 16th. Government Center, Peyton Drive parking lot, 14077, Peyton Drive from 1 to 6 p.m. Live stream is following rigorous safety and disinfection protocols. Donors are required to wear face coverings. Appointments are recommended at 800-879-4484 or visit lstream.org. Livestream has begun testing all successful complete blood donations for antibodies to SARS-CoV-2, the coronavirus that causes COVID-19, as an additional benefit to donors at all Livestream locations. The test only shows whether you have been exposed to the virus in the past, not whether you have it currently. And finally, and this is very, very important to all of us, whether you like or don't like your representatives in the state legislature and in the federal government, the census deadline is coming up on September 30th. The last day to be counted is September 30th. It's just 9 questions. It asks where you live as of April 1st, 2020, and asks one person in the household to list everyone who usually lives and sleeps in your home. Results determine how many seats in Congress each state will have, and also helps determine how federal funding flows into our state and community. Chino Hills has a 79.7 response rate, and the interesting point is that 69.8% of our residents have answered the 9 questions online. Our website has links to Census 2020 at www.chinohills.org/census2020. And with that ends my report. But like Suzette was saying, one of the things that we pride ourselves in the city of Chino Hills is how safe we are. Well, safety comes from 2 major organizations. It's our police department, but it's also our fire department. You all know from my personal experiences with your department, and several of your paramedics, that I have a life to be thankful for because of this department. You will always be held in highest esteem by me, and anything and everything that I can personally do to help support your organization, it's just for the asking. I'm only one vote on the council, but we can influence people a little bit. But thank you for all of those brave men and women that are out there right now fighting fires. Nathan Cook was nice enough to be our reporter last night for the district in your stead, Chief Shackelford, and did a great job of outlining how many of our firefighters are out there helping people. It's amazing. And thank goodness someone mentioned earlier for the cool weather, I think it was Pastor Kobe, that, without this break in the weather, it would be even worse. But, the masks are dual purpose right now, not only for social distancing for COVID, but breathing that air that's out there. I know I've been having trouble all day with my asthma and my respiratory stuff, and best thing to do is stay in, and hopefully the power usage will stay down to where we don't have power outages. People need to be checking the Southern Cal Edison sites to make sure how power is going to be affected in your areas where you live. So again, thank you very much for the privilege of being here tonight, and God bless the rest of your meeting. I appreciate it so much, and I'll be talking with the board members a little bit more later on in the evening, so thank you very much.
Sorry. Thank you.
With us this evening also is Chairman Charlie Blank from the Fire Safe Council, although he doesn't have a report for us this evening, so that concludes our liaison reports.
All right, thank you very much. Next, we have the consent calendar. Let's see here. Before we move on, does anyone in the audience wish to speak on this item? Seeing none. Clerk of the board, do we have any public comments on the consent calendar?
We have no public comment on consent calendar.
All right. If any board members wishes to pull an item from the consent calendar for discussion, please state your name and the item number you wish to pull. Anybody wish to pull any? Seeing none, at this time, we would request a motion. And please state your name before you present your motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar. Oh, John, you want to?
Ramos Messenger, I'll second his motion.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve Director John DeMonico, a second by Vice President Sarah Ramos Eminger. I will now call for a roll call voice vote. Director Wynn Williams?
Yes.
Director Mike Krieger?
Yes.
Director John DeMonico?
Yes.
Vice President Sarah Ramos Eminger?
Yes.
And myself, President Harvey Luke, yes. This item carries unanimously. Old business, we have none. Next, we have new business. Item number 9, Chino Valley Fire District Section 115 Trust Annual Report. Purposes for the Board of Directors to review and approve the 2019-20 Annual Report for the Section 115 Trust. Finance Director Steve Heide, please present your report.
President Luth, members of the board, good evening. The 115 Trust bylaws require that an annual report of the trust be presented to the district's Board of Directors within 90 days of fiscal year end. The trust's fiscal year end does coincide with the district's June 30 year end, and we're presenting the report this evening. Initially, $5 million was invested in the 115 Trust in April of 2017, and since then an additional deposit of $380,000 has been made to the trust. Wells Fargo serves as the trustee and custodian of the funds, and PFM is the trust administrator and our investment advisor. There is a 5-member 115 Trust Investment Committee comprised of district management and staff, which meets quarterly to review the trust performance and discuss trust management with PFM. The investment objective remains unchanged with an assumed rate of return of 5.5%, and we'll be receiving a detailed report here in a second, but the trust account balance at June 30, 2020 amounted to just over $6.5 million compared to about $6.2 million at June 30, 2019. And PFM is in attendance virtually this evening to make a presentation in just a moment here to the board. Just also want to remind the board and the public that the trust is also subject to annual independent audit, and that is anticipated to be completed here in the coming months and to be presented as part of the overall audit to the board in December. So with that, before I introduce Ellen Clark from PFM, I just want to read a quick housekeeping note. And the presentation you're about to receive will be available on GoToWebinar for those joining us remotely. We have provided hard copies to the board and also have copies available here this evening for the public attending the meeting live. For those of you accessing the agenda packet with a device, the presentation is also available as an attachment to the agenda packet. So with that, I am pleased to introduce Ellen Clark of PFM, joining us via GoToWebinar to make the presentation. Ellen?
Thank you, Steve. President Luth, members of the boards, it's my pleasure to be with you tonight. It would be better to be in person, but in these unprecedented times, I'm with you virtually. So if we could proceed to the next page, as Steve said, this trust was funded originally with about $5 million, and the purpose of the trust is to provide additional retirement retirement benefits provided by CalPERS. It's a supplemental trust. The objective is long-term. So over the long term, we'd like to get at least a 5.5% annual rate of return. And we have a target asset allocation that's reflected on this page of about 50% in risk assets and 50% in income assets. So equity assets would be 50% divided between domestic stocks and international stocks, and then fixed income in a structured fixed income portfolio. If we could proceed to the next page. The target asset allocation, as I said, is 50-50, 50% fixed income and 50% equity, and then we divide that equity 33% to US stocks and a 17% to international stocks. That is a target. We do have some flexibility to adjust those. And you see on the right, the current asset allocation as of June 30 was 50% stock, about just a little bit less in domestic equity and a little bit less in international equity. And we had a small allocation to convertible bonds, and another growth type of asset. If we could proceed to page 3, this shows you the performance of the portfolio as of June 30th. We've had the pleasure of providing our services to the district since May of 2017. So we had have had a very dramatic year this year in the markets. The second quarter was the best quarter that we've had since 1998. 12% was the return on the portfolio versus our blended benchmark, which is a benchmark of market indices blended to the target asset allocation of that 33% US stocks, 17% international, and 50% fixed income. For the trailing 1 year, about a 5.9% return, 3 years, 6.4%, and then since inception, 6.6%. So in every period we're showing here exceeding the 5.5% target return, and just about on the blended benchmark that's presented here below. If we could go to the next page. As I said, the US stock markets have been quite dramatic and challenging this year. We have made a number of strategic policy changes within the constraints of the investment policy since we talked last. And I've highlighted these on page 4. The green pluses are where we've added to the portfolio, and the minuses is where we've taken positions away from the portfolio. So starting in a year ago, we actually increased our allocation to stock in the portfolio and reduced our allocation or removed our allocation to high yield or more risky fixed income. That fixed income had gotten quite expensive, and PFM likes to sell expensive assets and buy less expensive assets. And you'll see that theme as I progress here. In the fourth quarter of 2019, if we go to the bottom of the page there, we increased the credit quality of the fixed income portfolio. So we had more invested in treasuries rather than corporate bonds. And then we took out and removed our small capitalization US small cap allocation. And we had a fairly significant allocation to mid cap or medium sized stocks, and we reduced that. Then in the first quarter of 2020, it really was at the beginning of March, we had come into the year thinking we were going to have a pretty good year. So we were overweight stock. going into the year. And at the beginning of March, it became clear to us that the pandemic was on its way. So we dramatically reduced the allocation to equity. We took our position down to a fairly significant underweight to equity. And we put that money in fixed income, and we took an unprecedented move and put money into cash. We had money in cash because we wanted money to be available to reinvest in the markets quickly. And, you know, the markets bounced back much more quickly than we expected. We hit the bottom of the market about the 23rd of March. And so we did start to reposition the portfolio through the second quarter. We added to our domestic equity position, so we brought the portfolio back up to target and domestic equity. And then we selectively added to our mid-cap allocation, and we also added a convertible bond allocation to the portfolio. In the fixed income side, because we are in a very low interest rate environment, we have been selectively adding some small incremental higher income producing allocations in the fixed income portfolio as well. If we could go to the next page, it has been a challenging year. We see that the market has recovered very significantly, wiping out the negative returns that we saw in March. But it has taken us all of second quarter and into third quarter to do that. This graphic on page 5 shows you the position that we have, a cautious position on equities and a neutral position on fixed income. We do not expect fixed income to provide us with much return on a going forward basis. And really the market is being pushed by or pulled by a couple of significant allocations in the technology area, and the tremendous support that we've gotten from on a monetary and fiscal basis, monetary from the Federal Reserve and fiscal from the US government, as we've dealt with the COVID-19 pandemic. If we could go to the following page, economic conditions are mixed, but beginning to improve. We are seeing that the economy is bouncing back after being shut down in March and April. And this graphic is just showing, if you look back to the beginning of the year, everything looked pretty good, a lot of green, so that was good. And then we came into the red zones there as we progress into March and through April, May, and June. And we're starting to work our way out. Certainly the financial markets have recovered nicely. We're beginning to see some consumer spending. We're beginning to see restaurants being able to serve outside and some communities inside. And we're beginning to see some increase in production on the service side as well as on the manufacturing side. If we could go to the next page, here are some economic indicators that we look at: retail sales, new home sales, consumer confidence, because the consumer is 2/3 to 3/4 of the US gross domestic product, and then a graphic showing manufacturing and service activity. And in every instance, you can see positive bounce off the bottom after we've seen some fairly dramatic declines in every one of these categories here. If we go to the next page, the US labor market has continued to improve, although we still have a considerable amount of unemployed. The unemployment rate today is about 8.5%. And we are continuing to see a decline in the number of unemployment claims, though we're still running at about a million a month. And we are adding jobs back into the economy. So as of the end of August, your employment was at about 147. Going to the next page, we're looking at the equity market. We did see that dramatic, very, very quick decline from about the 1st of March to the 23rd of March, where we lost 34% in return in the marketplace. And this graphic is as of August 14th, showing you a positive 4.4% return on a year-to-date basis. That has continued to go up. In the last week or so, we have given away some, and so we're actually right about the same place we were at the middle of August. We're about the same place we were then today. So finally, going to the portfolio itself, on page 15, these numbers are small, but as Steve said earlier, the portfolio has about $6.5 million now as of June 30. The since inception return is 6.6% on an annualized basis over the last 3+ years. And the portfolio is sitting right about on that 50-50 target as of June 30, 2020. And these two pages here, page 15 and 16, show you the different investments that were invested in the portfolio. Unless there's any questions, that concludes my comments.
Are there any questions from members of the board? Doesn't look like we do. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Is there anything else?
I'll just read the recommendation if I can. It's recommended that the board review and approve the 2019-20 annual report for the Chino Valley Fire District Section 115 Trust.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, clerk of the board, do we have any requests to speak?
We have no request to speak.
Okay. This is the time for the board to comment. So, Director Williams.
I have no comment.
All right. Director Krieger.
Just pleased with that it's recovered and we didn't see a big negative spike in that, and that it's continuing to move forward, you know, doing what the goals were to have in place in the first place. So hopefully it stays that way.
All right. Director DeMonico.
Yeah, I'd like to say great job on the investments. It's really nice to see that we've had a positive outcome investment-wise through the pandemic with everything we've been hearing on the news. So thank you so much for a great report.
Vice President Ramos-Evinger.
I agree with them, and I just want to thank Alan. We're sorry we couldn't see you this evening, but thank you so much for the report.
All right. Myself, yes, thank you to the committee and to Alan and PFM for being such good stewards of this investment. This is an important part of the process to review it. Appreciate all the work that went into that in the presentation.
Thank you so much for your comments.
All right, thank you. This time I'd like to request a motion. Please state your name before your motion.
Ramos-Evinger, approved.
Do I have a second?
Mike Krieger, second.
All right, we have a motion by Vice President Ramos-Evinger to approve, a second by Director Krieger. I will now call for a roll call voice vote. Director Williams.
Yes.
Director Krieger.
Yes.
Director DeMonico.
Yes.
Vice President Ramos-Evinger.
Yes.
And myself, Harvey Luke, yes. And that item carries. Next, we have item number 10, bid number 20-02, Fire Station 66 remodel. Purposes for the Board of Directors to review the bids received. Bid number 20-02, award the bid to the lowest responsible bidder and review and approve resolution number 20-12 for contingent and project costs. Deputy Chief Scott Atkinson, please present your report.
All right. Good evening, President Luth and directors of the board. It's my pleasure to actually bring this forward. It's been a project that's been in the works for over 2.5 years. This project is actually conceptualized by Chief Faraday, and he started that process, and it's taken this long to get to where we're at.
What?
Yeah. So today, I'm going to talk to you about the remodel of Station 66, which includes the bathroom remodel as well as the flooring, both the carpet flooring and the tile. So to give you some background, there are going to be two bids here. There's going to be the base bid project and the additive alternate bid project. That was a term that our contractor that we're using, WLC Architects, utilized, and it'll explain a little bit more as we go forward. So Station 66 was built in 1990, and what we'd like to do is take the one large bathroom. It's open, big open area. It has the 2 toilets, 2 urinals, 3 sinks, and 2 showers. Our goal is to make this gender separation as well as improvements due to the facility's age. So what it'll look like is instead of one big bathroom, it'll be 2 individual bathrooms with 2 separate entries. And each bathroom will look very similar to some of our other fire stations. You'll have a shower, a sink, toilet, and cabinetry in the bathroom. Also, the floor tiling in the station is the original. It was back installed again in 1990. We have some wear and tear on that and the age of the tile. And we also have some foundation settling in the station, unique on the one side of the station. What we'd like to do is to replace that tile, remove it all, and replace it with luxury vinyl planks, or LVP. It's very common flooring that's used now throughout the industry. A lot of time, you'll see the architects talk about it. It's used quite frequently in fire stations. It's very flexible, it's scratch resistant, and it works great in high traffic areas and doesn't keep any moisture or other harmful substances. This flooring is also designed to last somewhere in the nature of 25 years. Okay, so what we'd like to then do is to continuously throughout the entire station where we have carpet, we would like to continue that LVP planks throughout the station. So the alternate bid project number 1 would be replacing the carpet in those areas. The carpet in the station is currently over 5 years old. It's scheduled for replacement this year. And we're recommending that the carpet, instead of replacing the carpet, we go with the LVP flooring. We recently did receive a bid on carpet, and we're looking somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 to replace the carpeting. And you'll see that the LVP flooring runs real close to that cost. The nice thing about the flooring is it will last just about 5 times longer than the carpet itself. And also, we have a $1,500 bill that we have to pay each year for carpet cleaning for that station, and that would be eliminated. So that would be the 2 bids, the base bid and the additive alternate bid project. So as you know, back in July, so to give you some background, we actually started the bid process back in March, and due to COVID-19, we had to delay the bid multiple months, and then we were able to open that bid just in the month of June, and it closed in July. That was the initial bid, and we received 13 bids at that time, sealed bids. We opened the bids, and due to an error in the bid process, it was determined with legal and WLC Architects that we needed to reject all bids. And that was what we brought to the board. The board on July 8th, 2020, went ahead and rejected all bids. And so bid 2001 was thrown out, and then we opened bid 2002, the rebid of the project, on July 27th. And then that was open for a month. It closed on August 17th, and we had a total now of 4 bids that were received, and they're there for your viewing in the 4 number spots. We have hired the architect services with WLC. They completed all the drawings, the project manual, which project manual is about 450 pages. A lot of work in the project. It includes all the scope in the work and all the paperwork that's required for the bid process, as well as the contracts that we will be moving forward with if approved tonight. So bid for the new 02 bid, we made sure that we followed all the requirements. It was posted in the newspaper. We also did send it out to all the previous vendors, and WLC also put it through all their platforms as well. The district policy says that the bid award should be to the lowest responsible bidder. Kelly Needham, who's our architect that we're working with, he personally reviewed and contacted all the references for the lowest responsible bidder. Prior to moving forward with that, we have to let you know that we did receive a protest from Velux Construction. They're the number 2. So we went through all the paperwork, and we found with consultation with legal, consultation with WLC architects, that there was no merit on their protest. We did send them a letter and advising them that we were moving forward and that we didn't find any merit in their protest. And as of this time, we have not heard back from them. So staff is recommending the rejection of VLUX protest and award the bid to our dependable of San Bernardino. So now comes the part where we have to talk about the budget. So one thing, if you remember, we talked about this started 2.5 years ago, and during that time, that's when the dollar amount was budgeted for. So since then, those costs have significantly increased, and those costs have increased in many ways. One is construction costs. We have a 2.5 year delay from the time that we actually worked out the numbers for the project. So today what we're asking for is a budget amendment that we would bring forward for the increased costs. So to break down the costs, initially in 2018-19, $100,000 was budgeted for the bathroom remodel, $38,000 for the floor tile. That would be the base bid as you see it. And then this year, we put a $25,000 in the budget to replace the station carpeting with LVP. We currently have been using WLC to do the architectural and all the documentation. They were the ones who developed the plans, the project manual and such. We've already had to hire them, and we're encumbered for $24,000 with a $1,000 returnable deposit. We're also seeking a 15% contingency fund for unforeseen costs and potential change orders. As you know, when you open up walls, we don't know what's there. The station's 30 years old, so we wanted to be able to handle if there were any repairs that were unforeseen. We would ask for a 15% contingency. So what we're requesting is for a total addition of $69,150. It's also broken out on the attachment that we attach to this staff report. The budget amendment is necessary to complete the proposed project of $181,000, and then we'd like to establish that contingency fund, which comes to $20,150. This would be for a total maximum project cost of $232,150. That would be if the contingency was fully used. So what then these funds the additional funds would come from an unassigned fund balance. I'll answer any questions that you have, and then I'll read the recommendation following that.
Well, why don't you, if you would, read the recommendation?
You want me to go ahead and read it?
We'll go to comments.
Okay, very good. So it's recommended that the Board of Directors reject the bid protest provided by Velux Construction and award bid number 2002 in amount of $181,000 for the Fire District Station 66 remodel. That's the base and the additive alternate bid to Our Dependable Construction, Inc. of San Bernardino, California. It is further recommended that the fire chief be allowed to execute all project-related contracts, and for the Board of Directors to approve resolution number 2020-12 for $69,500 to be funded from the unassigned fund balance.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. Before we move forward, I do have a question for council. I think I mixed up the agenda item numbers. Is there any?
President Luth, you can take the other agenda item afterwards, and I think with proper sort of announcement that it's coming next, that's no problem at all.
Okay, so we're good to proceed. Thank you. All right, so this is time for the board to comment or ask questions. Director Williams.
Thank you very much. The question I have.
I'm sorry. Can you hold on? I forgot. Do we have any public comments? I'm sorry about that.
We have no public comment.
Thank you. All right, I'm sorry, Director Williams.
Okay, very good, thank you. I think you may have stated it in here, because I was going over this earlier, but what was the reason for the Velux opposing the bid?
Yes, thank you for the question on that. So Velux sent in their protest, and in their protest, they were objecting to the process. When they went through their protest, they actually, so to give you some background, this project has been going on for many months because of COVID. So each time the project has a change, we call it an addendum. There were 7 addendums total for the project, the most that WLC has ever had dealt with in any project that they worked on. Each addendum will have new information relating back to the contract documents. The addendum supersedes the previous addendum or previous contract documents. Velux Construction was protesting based on Addendum 6. We're currently in Addendum 7. Addendum 6 identified how contractors were going to be listed and how they were going to, that there was a requirement that a contractor was required to use certain subcontractors. In Addendum 7, that was changed and taken out. So there was no merit to their protest following that, because they were looking at Addendum 6, protesting basing on Addendum 6 when we were currently in Addendum 7.
Okay. And the other question, I have another question. Thank you on that one. Now, should I ask if there's any board members that have any other questions related to that, or?
No, this is, you go ahead.
Okay, and see if I can get my head straight here. Oh, in regards to the flooring, has there been any checking to see how the sound is going to be impacted? Generally with carpeting, there's sound deadening or not as much noise, and I was wanting to know how this flooring.
Yeah, good question.
Talking about with
Director Williams. So what's something interesting, talking with the architect, if we were to build a fire station today, one of the things that they do now in all fire stations is they use polished concrete. No longer are we using carpeted surfaces. They'll use polished concrete. Now that's one of the new ways of doing things. It's much cleaner. It's more sanitary, and they're finding in the fire station that when you're walking in with your shoes, you're tracking materials that you don't, and they tend to be absorbed in the carpet. The flooring may be a little louder. DLOC talked about this is something that they're recommending based on the type, the fire station, the type of work that we do. It's much safer in the long run, longevity of the personnel, because we're not tracking and contaminating the carpet. Because as you know, we're in and out of calls all the time. They're coming off the fire engine, and you're walking on that carpet. So this was a recommendation WLC when we started. I wasn't really familiar with the product. I did a lot of research and found out there's quite a few people actually putting it in their homes, and it's very popular right now. And I believe this will be a much better flow throughout the station. It will serve its purpose, and we don't have to replace like we do carpet. It'll last 25 years versus the carpet typically lasting 5.
That does seem like it makes a lot of sense what you're saying, and that sounds very good. Thank you very much for that.
All right. Director Krieger.
So the 100,000 was a carryover from the 18-19 budget year, and we just kept.
Yes.
So the funds were there. It was just being carried over. Then we budgeted
100,000 and 38,000.
Then 38,000. So 138, and then this year we allocated an additional 25. And then the rest of the 69,000 is whatever that deficit is plus the 15%, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'm good with that. I know of the luxury vinyl stuff product. It's really, really good. A lot of people use it in their bathrooms and kitchens and high traffic areas now. So it is a little bit louder wind than carpet would be, but it's not nearly as loud as polished concrete is. So, I'm good with it. Thank you.
All right. Director DeMonico.
And just one question, with the, when we're rejecting the bid from Velux, they were not the low bidder as it stands.
Correct. They were number 2.
Our dependable were the low bidder.
Correct, yes.
So we're still awarding the low bidder.
That is correct.
Thank you for this one.
Vice President Ramos-Ellinger.
No questions, we discussed this in finance committee. So
Right. Yes, I would agree. We went over this in finance already, so I have no additional questions. So at this time, I would like to request a motion. Please state your name before your motion.
Krieger, move to approve.
Second.
Ramos-Ellinger?
All right, we have a motion by Director Krieger and a second by Vice President Ramos-Ellinger. I will now call for a roll call voice vote. Director Williams.
I vote yes.
Director Krieger.
Yes.
Director DeMonico.
Yes.
Vice President Ramos-Ellinger.
Yes.
And myself, Harvey Luke, yes. Item carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
So now we will move into what I have as agenda item number 11, I apologize, but it's agenda item number 10 on the actual agenda packet, which is resolution number 2020-13, properties declared for weed abatement. Purpose is for the Board of Directors to review, approve, and adopt resolution number 2020-13, identifying properties declared for weed abatement within the fire district. Fire Marshal Daniel Barnes, please present your report.
Good evening, President Luce and members of the board. Community Risk Reduction has conducted inspections throughout the district, identifying properties for a fire hazard or potential fire hazard that exists due to weeds or other combustible vegetation. Before you is resolution number 2020-13 and a list of properties that are declared for weed abatement. With the approval of the resolution, the fire district will mail notices to all property owners on the list requiring abatement. A public hearing will be held at the regular board meeting on October 14th, 2020 for property owners wishing to address the board on this matter. Re-inspections will commence the day after the public hearing to determine compliance with the notice. Any properties found to be non-compliant will be assessed a penalty through our administrative citation process and are subject to abatement by our private contractor. Similar to our spring weed abatement, Resolution 2020-13 has been amended to allow for public purpose based on the current state of emergency. It is recommended that the Board of Directors review, approve, and adopt Resolution number 2020-13 regarding the declaring and noticing of property owners for weed abatement.
All right. Is there anyone wishing to address the board on this item? Seeing none, Court report, do we have any requests to speak?
We have no request to speak.
All right, so this is the time for the board to comment. Director Williams.
I would like to just ask the process a little bit. When do fees start occurring for the property owners in this weed abatement process? You give them notice that they need to get rid of the weeds, and so they have a chance to get rid of them. Do you send mailings out, or do you just post it?
So we do advertising to let people know that inspections are coming. Tomorrow the notices will go out, so a property owner or the current resident of the property owner or of the property will receive the notice, and it has the deadline in there, which is essentially the deadline of the public hearing. They're made aware in the notice that they can come contest or bring the matter before the board at the public hearing, and then it's spelled out in there what the potential penalty is and the fact that they're subject to contractor fees if we clear it, as well as a cost recovery fee of $328.
No, the notice goes out by mail, is that correct?
Correct. So we send it out first class and certified mail.
So they get a chance after they get their mailing to get the weeds taken care of and stuff before you actually assess a fee then, is that correct?
Yes, they roughly have almost a month to abate the property.
Okay, that's what I was curious about. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, Director Krieger.
Long list. That's it. Good job. Keep it up.
Thank you. I will pass it on to staff.
That is, all right. Director DeMonico.
Well, thank you for the report. It's almost become a year-round project. So thank you very much. No questions.
My Vice President Ronald Sevinger.
We also, well, the city of Chino Hills puts out the electric sign that reminds the community that it's time to abate the weeds. So that's a nice reminder while you drive down Chino Hills Parkway as well. That's very, very helpful. So I think we do a pretty darn good job at communicating. And people who have lived in our community for a long time do know that we work very, very hard and that we're very serious about this. So thank you so much for all the hard work to you and your entire staff. I know it's a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would echo those comments. Yes, it's a long list. Obviously, there's a lot of work goes into this, looking at properties and compiling the information. So thank you to you and your staff for all the good hard work. This time I'd like to request the motion. Please state your name before your motion.
John DeMonico, motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All right, I have a motion from Director DeMonico, a second by Director Williams. I will now call for a roll call voice vote. Director Williams.
Vote yes.
Director Krieger.
Yes.
Director DeMonico.
Yes.
Vice President Ronald Sevinger.
Yes.
And myself, Lou, is a yes, that item carries. Thank you. Next, we have Fire Chief's comments. Fire Chief Shackelford, do you have any comments?
I do. Good evening, President Luke, Vice President Ramos-Hevinger, members of the board. Under Board Activities and Public Relations, Vice President Ramos-Hevinger and Director Krieger attended the International Association of Fire Chiefs virtual FRI conference on August 19th and 21st. Under organizational items of interest, over the last several weeks, CVFD personnel have assisted at large incidents throughout California. Currently, we have a total of 15 personnel that are deployed, and that actually just changed right before the meeting. We sent some folks to go cover the CAL FIRE Prado station. So we are now at 19 that we have deployed. And I did share with the board earlier a lot of fire activity in the fire spread, the fire Yucaipa and Oakland area. A lot of resources have been shifted out of the county, and that was shortly before the meeting. And I'd like to ask our HR Director to provide an update on recruitment. Christy.
Good evening. We are conducting firefighter paramedic testing this week and into next week. Unfortunately, we've had some cancellations due to candidates being deployed on strike teams. So we're discussing makeup days later this month. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Right. And I have a mention on here of AB 2147, and I sent the board a link to an article on this. And I'm going to try to keep it factual and leave as much of the commentary as possible on this, but it will probably come through with this. AB 2147 is actually sitting on the governor's desk. It was passed, and this is a bill that was written in to fully expunge a felon's record if they've served in a firefighting camp. So immediately upon release, they could petition to have their felony expunged and terminate parole immediately. So the goal of this is to allow them to become firefighters in the state. There are some exceptions, and it's murder, kidnapping, rape, lewd acts on a child. Those are excluded by this, but virtually every other felony would pertain. In discussing this with some law enforcement personnel, what is especially concerning and remarkable about this is what's happened in our state with law enforcement in terms of what they're allowed to pursue and all the legislation that's happening. It takes some effort to become a felon. That's not a typical first-time offender. You have to put some effort into it, and you go down that path. So to really expunge someone's record and put into the pipeline of potential firefighters, felons, I have some significant concerns. And I'll save my personal commentary. I'll leave it at this. I feel like the public, and personally, I have an expectation when I call 911 of the caliber of people that are going to respond to that call. And I have some significant concerns by this legislation, and I hope the governor does not sign it. I'll leave the rest of my personal comments out of it, and I'm sure that the board has some concerns as well. I'll move on to upcoming events. A virtual 9/11 ceremony or 9/11 remembrance will be live streamed and posted on social media, and that will be taking place on Friday.
What time?
6:40, and I believe it will also be available to be viewed later on for those that are not early morning risers. We'll also be hosting a Sharps collection on Saturday, September 26th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and that will be taking place here at the Training Center. And the Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for September 28th at 8 a.m. And on October 10th, the district will host a virtual fire station tour and that's going to take place on Saturday, October 10th, and that's in place of our traditional annual open house. So once again, the impacts of COVID on large gatherings are having an impact. And that concludes my comments for this evening.
Thank you. So this is the time for board comments. Director Williams.
I'd just like to say that the Chief's doing a great job, and I'm really happy to be here on the board, working with you guys. And things are going real good lately, and I hope we can continue that way. And I want to thank everybody for their help. That's all.
All right. Director Krieger.
I've attended virtually school board meeting. Everybody's back in school. There's some learning bumps with that. I attended a 2-hour city Chino meeting, and then Mayor Bennett almost came real close to have a quick meeting last night, and then they got to the point where we're at. People started pontificating and discussing stuff, and it took a little bit longer to wrap it up last night, but it was about 2 hours as well with that. As the chief said, I did listen in on the director of the National Fire Agency speak at the Fry conference. It was good, just good and educational to kind of hear what he had to say. Congratulations to our people that have their anniversaries, to Don and Leslie. Steve, thanks for the update on the 115 Trust. It's always good to know that we're trending, the right direction. And once again, Danielle, thank you for having your staff work so hard on the weed abatement stuff. It's a big portion of what you guys do, and I appreciate it. Hopefully, that will help us from having a problem here. And good job on your report.
Thanks.
I'm thanking everybody else. Might as well thank you. But that's it for me tonight.
Director DeMonico?
Oh, and I'll concur with Director Krieger's comments and approval of everybody's report. Thank you. You do a great job for us. I did attend a number of meetings virtually, Chino Hill City Council, IDEOA, San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors. And I'll be glad when this pandemic is over, we can start attending these in person and hopefully get back to somewhat of normalcy sometime here in the near future or in the future. But with that being said, I want to congratulate Lena on her award, and Don and Leslie, thank you for your service, and hope you get a whole lot more years out of you, and I'm sure we will. And with that being said, one question, Chief. With that, I forget the number, but the Assembly Bill 2134, you said whatever it is. Have we written a letter of opposition, because that has not been signed by the governor yet, right?
We have not.
We have not. I believe that it's in our board policies that the president, you can write a letter of opposition to that Assembly bill. And so I would hope that that would be something we would do.
On that topic, Deputy Chief Cook is attending a Cal Chiefs conference. That's why he's not with us this evening. And I believe that's one of the items that they're going to discuss. So the PORAC, the law enforcement side, they actually came out in opposition. I think there's some contention on a position on this on the fire side. There have been some of the union positions, depending on what agency, are actually supportive of moving in that direction. So I think there may be a split in the fire service on a viewpoint on this. But yes, I am completely opposed to it. And I would be happy to write a letter on my personal behalf in opposition of this.
Okay, well, I believe that our board policies allow us to do that. If they do not, and we need to do that, I think that that's something that we should have agendized for this board to take action on.
Well, it might be too late by then. So, well, I think that
it's on his desk.
Yeah, I think that we can move forward with something like that, or policy allows us for the president and vice president to do that.
I believe they have the authority.
I believe so too.
I believe they have the authority. So I just wanted to.
Because this came up before, John, and I think you were one of the people that said that we need to be able to have that ability.
And that's why we changed the board policy to do that. Okay, with that then.
I think Mayor Bennett's trying to say,
Harvey, if you need assistance from the city of Chino Hills, we would gladly write a letter. I'll sign a letter to support that as well. We can't have ex-felons in the fire service.
I think we would appreciate that.
That concludes my comment. Sorry.
Thank you. Vice President Ramos, Editor.
Okay, I wanted to congratulate Lena on receiving the Commander's Award. That's amazing. That's awesome. She's done so much for our community, both for the fire district as well as now, us learning about the outreach that she's done for the sheriff's department as well. So congratulations, Lena. I'm sorry I couldn't say it in person. And also Leslie, and then we have Don. It seems like Leslie just started with this yesterday, and it's already 5 years. Wow, that's crazy. I do want to say, so we did the proclamation for breast cancer awareness, but next month is actually October. And I would like, as we always have traditionally, for board members and staff, please wear pink next month. I know you guys have the tie, and I see you guys can all entertain me and wear nice pink, real pink, not feminine, real pink. Okay? If you need help learning what pink is, I'll be happy to teach you.
Yes.
You mean I wore my pink tonight for nothing?
You can wear it again next month.
It was on the agenda.
Yeah, it was. Okay. And then, let me see here, what else do I have here? So I attended a finance committee, agenda review, the Fire Rescue International Virtual Fire Safe Council, City of Chino Hills meeting, and we had our ACT meeting on Monday. And with that, I just want to just thank everyone. We had a lot of hard work put into the agenda, a lot of stuff going on, and just thanking everybody for your hard work. And looks like we're finally kind of turning that corner to normalcy, and I hope soon that we can have more of our community attend our meetings and not just virtually, so we can see all staff. So, thank you.
Thank you. Let's see here, yes, I attended agenda meeting, finance meeting, the Chino Council meeting virtually, and last night I did watch the Chino Hills Council meeting as well. Let's see here, congratulations, or just thank you, Alina, just, what an awesome, nice recognition.
She's been doing that for years. That wasn't a one-time event.
Right. And for her to get recognized, that was very nice.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Nice to see that recognition. And then to our service award recipients, Nurse Farm and accountant firms, for all their good efforts. And it's nice to recognize them. For the meeting, I was mentioned to the officer in the back of the room, just thanking him for being here. And he commented about the relationship between the two, the PD and the district, and it's the same thing between the Chino Hills PD and the district. It's just such a good relationship. It's so wonderful to see that. I think our community benefit from that. I know I've said this before, but I just wanted to point that out. Thank us for being here, but also for how well our two departments in the district and the other police station officers up in Chino Hills, how well they work together. I just think that is tremendous and good for us all. And let's see here, what else? Oh, and just as Chaplain Roby pointed out, just a hedge of protection over our people. We've got so many people out, and our crews are getting stretched thin, and so just hope and pray that he does keep them all safe, and they all return here safe and sound and ready to keep keeping us safe and sound here in our community. So with that, the meeting will be adjourned to a regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the Chino Valley Independent Fire District to be held Wednesday, October 14th, 2020. We are adjourned. Good job.